Hey Thomas, how are you today?
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
No problems. Well, it's an honor to have you. I've been wanting to have you on my podcast for a very long time. I'll just give you a quick introduction, and for everyone that doesn't know who Thomas is, Thomas is a 2016 New Colombo Plan Scholar. He spent most of his time in Thailand
Yep.
for his exchange and internships. He's also the co-founder of the Asian Australian Strategic Youth Partnership, as well as the co-founder of Macy Consultants, which we will talk about later in part two. Uh, Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, Andrew. I've been excited to join your podcast. I've been listening to all the stories that you've been sharing with other NCP alumni as well as current scholars.
Yeah.
And it's just really insightful and really energizing to see this energy in the youth space or in early professional space on that matter in Australia's engagement with the region.
No, I really do appreciate it. I'm a big admirer of all of your work, and I think what better place to start is to start off with our activity, explain the picture, just telling us all about all of your adventures on scholarship as well as everything in between. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let me just share my screen.
I think the pictures was very hard. I was like, oh, which pictures to share?
There's
Anyone
a
that goes
lot,
on the
eh?
program has so many.
There's
Yes.
a lot. There's a lot. All right, let me just put full screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes. I
Awesome.
mean, yes, I can see it now.
Okay, cool. So for everyone that doesn't know, this game is basically Thomas has given me 5 pictures of his experiences, and he'll explain what the picture is about, of the background stories, any funny stories even. Happy to share that. And for podcast listeners as well, definitely try to describe what's happening in the picture as well, Thomas.
Yes, I'll do my best.
Let's do
I'm
it.
gonna sneeze.
No problems.
Okay.
Let's do
Sorry,
it.
look good. Thank you. Let's do it.
First picture. All right. What do we have here?
Oh, so here's a picture with me and two good friends of mine, Nina and Nat.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, what you can see is three of us wearing a T-shirt that states the Australian Thai Youth Ambassadors Program, or ATYAP.
Ah,
And here is a very colorful banner with full of the handprints of different students that we work with. It's such a fun and colorful experience. So just to speak to this picture, I like it a lot because it really captures why I fell in love with Thailand. I haven't really been to Thailand up until it was 2015 as part of the Australian Thai Youth Ambassadors Program. And this picture is when I was involved in 2017. So essentially what was great is that the way I started my program was the same way I ended it. I fell in love with Thailand, and then the New Colombo Plan opportunity came up. Prior to that, I was so headstrong on going to do my exchange in Spain, specifically Barcelona.
yeah.
And then coming out of this experience where I was working with a group of Australian and Thai university students teaching English to Thai kids in disadvantaged areas in rural provinces, it now enabled me to fall in love with the country. And I just knew that 1 month wasn't enough. I had to come back and be more involved. So here is a picture of in 2017, I was a team leader. So just after my internship, I guess the formal period of my NCP, I still wanted to stay longer.
Yeah.
So I volunteered working with my colleagues to manage a group of 40, around about 40 to 60 Australian undergraduates who came to Thailand. So we kind of introduced them to the culture. We work with them in educating different schools. And this picture is when we went to a juvenile school. So these kids are disadvantaged. They probably grew up in circumstances that were beyond their control. And, they ended up in situations that we do not, we can only hope that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
The purpose of that program was to really empower them that, there's more after this. When you come back into society, you can do more. You lose the English skills that we've taught you. Know that you are appreciated and that there are opportunities out there. And then this kind of banner was just a colorful experience where you got all of them to kind of paint their hands and, pattern that white banner. It was very wholesome. And it was like one of the best days of the ATYAP program.
Definitely. I think rehabilitation is such a big key thing that really is overlooked a lot. And I think with a lot of these international experiences, I think the volunteering, like the voluntary things that we do is what really stands out. Well, for me as well, and obviously for you. So that's why you've came back to Thailand.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, next photo.
Oh, so this one is for anyone who doesn't see the image. It's in a karaoke bar in Bangkok.
Uh-huh.
This took place in November. So I guess in the New Colombo Plan program was essentially the first time I had my birthday away from home. But what makes this picture so wholesome is that it's a collection of different circles of friends I still had in country at the time from my 1 year. It's not all of them, but from 1 year. You would see from Chula, from my exchange uni. There's some from clubs and parties in Bangkok.
Yep.
There's some from my UN internship as well as my Mindheart internship. And yes, not everybody knew each other.
Yeah.
But just having that, building that community, and then it was just something that is just a reminder of the friendships you can build. And we just had a great night singing songs to ABBA, Queen, some Thai songs in there for fun. Yeah. It was really good. And you can see a little pad Thai and different dishes in there. So
I was gonna ask, is like, do you sing karaoke and then eat while like someone else is singing? Like, because I know karaoke bars here in Sydney, it's mostly like you either just do the karaoke and then you go eat dinner, or vice versa. Was it like combination here, or is that like a bit different in Thailand?
It was interesting. This one I was like, you eat and you sing. Again, it's not common practice, but I had it in I scheduled it during dinner time, right? Some people decided to have dinner. So we had dinner and we sang. And then after that, we went out to go to the party areas.
Which is definitely a lot of...
I love it. You see the mix of friends, right? You could see like a lot of them are Thai. So this like, I've made such good Thai friends. But you also have some international friends as well who are working as expats or studying in Thailand as exchange students. So it's just a combined group.
No, that's great. I think definitely immersing yourself in the local community is always amazing, but it's also great to see also internationals coming as well. So fantastic. All right, next picture.
This is like a success. I can imagine for yourself, and I guess any young person that travels, photos and capturing memories.
Explain the picture firstly, actually.
Okay, so this is a photo of me in third person. So it's a candid photo of me sitting on a beautiful rock, a peak mountain in Koh Tao. So it's one of the islands in Thailand. And Koh Tao means turtle, so Turtle Island. And then you can, from the picture, you can see that. So I'm sitting on this rock that when you look at my view, it's like the two flippers of the turtle.
Yeah.
Looking north, probably north, okay.
Yeah.
But looking at a different other direction. And I just wanted to take a nice photo for Instagram.
Yeah.
But this is just one view of so many experiences, especially in nature, that you get to encounter. So I just had to plug one in out of the 5 photos.
Yeah. Did you have to hike up to this place, or was this like a nice hiking track? Because I guess when I went to Thailand, it was more about the beaches, the resorts, but hiking and like these views, not very much like visited by a lot of tourists. Hey.
Yeah, this one was a dangerous one. It was very clayey. It just came out. You can see the clouds. It had just rained the day before. You know, when you're abroad, you're more risk. You're more risk averse.
Yeah.
Risk averse. Is that you're more risk tolerant? Help me.
Yeah, I think tolerant is the right one. Yeah.
Yeah, you're more willing to take risks.
Yeah.
Like I don't encourage anyone.
No.
Take calculated risks.
Definitely.
But it was worth it.
Yeah, the view's very nice as well. Was there like another place where not a lot of tourists know of, but you really like the view or the scene, or like visiting? Any other places in Thailand you would encourage?
I always implore everyone to travel to rural Thailand. I mean, myself, I didn't know about it. I would have never considered it until up to the point I was in the volunteer program and I lived in Thailand, where you have the luxury of weekends and after school sessions to travel. And it's just so beautiful. It's more, I guess it's not a concrete jungle. Bangkok is a concrete jungle.
Yeah.
Even the islands themselves are so beautiful, but it's still different when you go out to the countryside.
No, 100%. All right, next photo. We're blasting through these. What's
Oh,
happening
so
here?
this is still, I remember, one of the highlights of my exchange experiences. So I did my exchange in Chulalongkorn University in
Hmm.
Thailand, Bangkok. And what you see here is a group of a lot of international students from both ASEAN as well as Europe.
Mm.
I myself was one of 3 Australians that
Mm.
did this exchange program, and Australians were very rare for this type of program, especially in Thailand. This is our student dorm. So I didn't live on campus. We had the 2 options, live on campus or off campus.
Hmm.
This is an off campus dorm, which most international students gravitate towards too, because it's located in, I guess, you can explore more. It's located in the suburbs
Mm.
in Bangkok, but also you can kind of be on this journey with other expats and other exchange students.
Yeah.
Are just really trying to make the most of something.
Yeah.
So this picture was on our very last day. We finished our exams, and I guess after that point, people started going back home or traveling, then going back home. So fun story. In this residence, it's tradition that each intake, everybody would sit on the poolside, and then
Yeah.
they would all jump out into the water, and then the pool would get polluted with everyone's dirty laundry and clothes. That happened for sure. But
Yeah.
it always needs someone to initiate it.
Yeah.
I was the one that initiated it because I had to create a Facebook event. I had to get people to vote for times,
Yeah.
but I just could not finish my Chula experience not doing this. And everybody really appreciated that. And actually, in the subsequent year, Josh Del Santos, another NCP Mobility Grant recipient, he organized it for his cohort. So I think for us Australians, we really like get into like making the most of every moment, even if it means being that person that has to like kind of rope everyone in.
Yeah.
But it's just such a good photo, and I have this one as a desktop for quite a while actually.
100%. You don't get that experience, let's say UTS or like a University of Sydney. There's no pools to jump in or like dorms, I guess, where there are pools. So yeah, and with all the uniforms, I did speak to another NCP scholar, and she, believe it was Jasmine, and she said you have to wear uniforms to university as well.
Yes, I loved it. Okay, I mean, some of the European colleagues weren't used to it, understandably.
Yeah.
I am obviously in Australia. We don't subscribe to a uniform basis. I think it's great because you learn the culture behind it. It's like building a community, establishing your identity as part of that university cohort and the values that they subscribe to. But it felt cool, like having the collar, having a nice belt.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I understand the cultural values behind it. I think it's a great experience, and I think anyone that's going to Thailand or the Philippines, which have uniforms, make the most of it. Because when you come back to Australia, you won't get this again.
That's right. At least it makes you feel like you're going to university or school every time you put on the uniform. Because here in Australia, you just put on whatever clothes and then you just go into the university. You come out and you don't really feel like there's like a transition. So
100%. And you could also tinker it up. I had female friends that wore ties. I had guy friends that wore ties. Or there's always how much of my sleeve, how much do I roll it down. So it's you can add that little accent to your outfit.
People always find a way.
Of course.
All right, I believe this is the last photo.
Yes. So to speak to the photo, this is me in an office in Bangkok. I worked, it was during my internship with Mindheart. Mindheart is an engineering consultancy that offers, I guess, all engineering services, specifically in the commercial sector. So again, I had many internships. I had one in the UN, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But the reason why I wanted to share this one with my Thai colleagues is because this is where I really developed cultural intelligence. And I know people, like for me, when I first heard the word cultural intelligence, what does that mean, right? Is it just a buzzword to show that you're versed in Asia? But it actually really showed through this because I learned to work in ways that were different to what we do here. And especially that, I guess, key things is building that sense of family. I'm not saying we don't do that in Australia, but here it's very important. It becomes a shared identity. You go out to lunch together and you do that on a very routine basis. You learn how to work as a when it comes to reporting lines, in Australia, we really subscribe to, what do you call it? Egalitarianism, right? Everyone has
Hmm.
an equal voice, and you have those opportunities readily accessible to you where you can voice your opinion. Here, you
Mm.
have to learn to navigate through that environment, and
Mm.
it's not just Thailand, it's a lot of Asian countries. So I really did enjoy this. I learned a lot technically as well.
Yeah.
I learned about American standards. I saw a
American
lot of,
standards.
yes, because in Australia we do like, I know Australia has its the way we approach,
Yeah.
and drawings and specifications is Australian standards. So I had to kind of quickly adapt to new standards
Yeah.
because Thailand uses American. So that was
Ah.
really fun and as well as so very challenging. But I was able to pivot from that experience.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the persons here, Swan, so he's the person in the center left with a blue shirt. He's
This
from,
this fella.
yeah, you circled him correctly. He studied in Monash, but he is a Myanmar or Burmese citizen.
Mm.
Him and I are still close friends to this day. And he recently
Oh.
moved to Australia, and we have planned to catch up in Sydney.
Yeah.
So you develop those friendships that you can take with you, especially those from the ASEAN backgrounds, ASEAN countries.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. I'm actually curious to ask you a little bit more about the cultural competencies of like working in Thailand in this sort of office. Like you said, it's American standards, but like I'm guessing there's a strong undertone of Thai culture and Thai influence as well. Was there anything that really surprised you about that?
Oh, definitely. Okay, one, they used Thai lap case. So what was very challenging was they did their best to accommodate me.
Mm.
But in their office, where it's a Thai office with Thai clients, they would speak Thai and I was
Ah,
learning Thai, but to learn Thai with a engineering jargon, it's
yeah,
just so hard. So
yeah,
I think I was there for a short period of time compared to expats who actually live in Thailand.
sure.
So I was able to pick up things, but it just goes to show how important language is, and or not just for efficiency,
Yeah.
but one that it's like allows you to understand the way of thinking. Because
Mm.
language is, as you know, is structured in a way that reflects the culture,
Yeah.
and that was very insightful. But there was also times where when people get to office, everyone's wearing like nice uniforms and everything, and then they tuck away their shoes and they walk around sometimes with like slippers. So they pull out songs or slippers and then all
Really?
walk around the office. I don't know if it's specifically this workplace, but it was just showing like, you know what, when you represent us outside, you're professional. But once you're here, make yourself a bit comfortable.
Ah, it's
Family.
nice.
I didn't do that though.
Nah. Just walking around barefoot.
I think you can see it in the photo as well to the left.
Ah,
Our female colleagues.
yeah, yeah. And I got still have one question left. I think
Yeah.
everyone here has, I think, Asian descent or Asian background. There's one person that isn't. Was he like an expat or was he? Yeah.
Yes, Warwick, he is an expat. He's Australian.
Oh, there we go.
So this is a company, Mindheart, that it is managing directors are Kiwi and Aussie. So two guys.
Ah,
But then their senior management is a mix of Australians and Thai
Hmm.
leaders. And then, but most of the workforce is Thai.
Hmm.
The way I got into this internship was challenging and something I could share about resilience, because what I planned in my application
yeah.
does not reflect what actually happened as much as I tried. But you know what? It ended up for the better.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I hear so many of those stories. Like we put all these incredible plans before we apply for NCP, but then does some things happen and some things work out, some things don't. So you'll probably talk about that later on. Hey,
Oh, definitely.
awesome. All right, I think I will stop the sharing there. Let's go. All right, and yeah, currently now, what are you up to right now, Thomas? Well, for me, it's university break, but for you, what's been happening?
So for me, I am a project manager at AECOM. So AECOM is an engineering consultancy. It is present across the world, especially in the Asia Pacific. So what's so great about the company is that there are opportunities for me to be expatriated. Actually, there were plans for me to be potentially expatriated to Thailand or Singapore through my company.
Whoa.
But then when COVID did hit and
Yeah.
the situation unfolded, those plans are now, this knowing that opportunity and possibility there was is greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
So that's what I currently do now. I'm managing various projects, especially in the transport infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
But then another project which is very close to my heart is Mesa Consultants. We are a social enterprise that's youth-led, that's based in both the Philippines, with my familiar heritage, as well as Australia. And we provide a range of project management and community development services, especially those that engage communities across Australia, Philippines, and then the wider ASEAN region.
Sounds like you got your hands full. There's a lot of things to do right now, even though there is COVID happening. It seems like there's a lot of things that I guess that are still happening, even though businesses, for the retail or other industries, are slowing down. I'm assuming also for construction, a lot of things are definitely booming, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think we know that the government is accelerating plans, so it's always had transport. That's a very key to, you connect hubs and employment increases. I mean, but it's just I guess the global situation is just putting so much money to accelerate that. And I am fortunate, and I consider myself grateful to be part of that. So hopefully that what we end up doing through, I guess, my current work at AECOM is that creating the future state of New South Wales that really is exciting to be a part of.
Awesome.